Hey Dee, how are you doing today?
I'm outstanding.
Are you ready to play 20 questions with us today?
Jeremy, this is an indication of the lengths to which I'm willing to go just to get the OBA staff to northeastern Oklahoma. So if I have to do 20 questions to get you guys out of the Oklahoma City Metro, I'll go.
Fair enough. What's the first thing that you thought of this morning?
Jeremy's coming.
What's the first thing you said aloud this morning?
Oh, God, Jeremy.
God, I feel special right now. We should just end it here. All right. Your bank is a family-owned community bank. How important are institutions such as yours to communities such as Owasso?
Well, it was really important in 1962 because we didn't have a bank in Owasso till our bank was organized in '62. Today, research will show you that people don't really care that you're locally owned and a community bank. They want to know what you can do for them. But the point that makes a difference, I think, is for 2,000 years, banking has been a relationship character industry. And the regulations and the fair lending requirements are trying to move us to a numerical industry instead of a character one. And I think it's still important that you know people. And so from that aspect, there are people in Owasso, let's just say, that would not have gotten a loan had we not known their character, because all of us have issues in the past that create stumbles and roadblocks.
I love it. A little less serious. What's the last song, if any, you sang in the shower?
Take a Chance on Me.
That's the best. All right. What's one habit you wish you could break? If any.
Eating too many sweets and not watching my weight.
Well, I think that's all of us right there. What was the name of your first pet?
Mac.
All right. You have served as a member on the OBA Board of Directors. Why did you feel it was important to serve on the board?
Well, when you add your OBA dues and then all of our directors support the OBA Political Action Committee, I thought it was important to really see what the OBA was doing, and so I could justify, our support of it. And I'm glad I did it. It was great. The side benefit is getting to know the staff, and I'm a big fan of Rogers and his advocacy and what Adrian's doing, and Janice on the education, and Leanne on the county. I got to know all those people and love them, and it's easier to support the organization when you know what they're doing. Now, they do have this communication director. It's kind of goofy, but the rest of the staff's really good.
And won't quit wiggling the camera. Well, we work around that one. You mentioned earlier you went to the state championship game recently between Union and Owasso. Owasso won. And you had mentioned a neat little story. Would you mind sharing that little story about that?
We've been so excited. Bill Blankenship is just a wonderful person in addition to being a great football coach. But the state championship game was played at Chapman Stadium, and the only other time Owasso ever played for or won a state championship game was my senior year of high school, played at the same place. So I intentionally sat on the same side, same row. The seats have been redone, but it was right in the same area as both championship wins, so that was cool.
That's, superstitions. I've worn the same pair of socks since OU last lost. I mean, only on game days. I'm not wearing them right now.
Well, you are a fan.
So superstitions make the sports world go around. Your bank has been a big local supporter of the schools by helping to provide new scoreboards and other additions. Why is it important for a community bank to provide help for local schools like you guys do?
Our founders decided a long time ago that to have a vibrant community, you need two things. You need a great locally owned bank, and you need a quality public school. And Owasso has enjoyed a good reputation for many years for having a quality school. So we are huge fans of public education. We donate $30,000 a year to the school for their scoreboards, and then we sponsor every elementary school walkathon. So we buy a T-shirt for every elementary student, teacher. I think we buy up to 6,000 T-shirts
oh my gosh.
now. And so there's another 25,000. But in addition to all the other stuff, it's just a rising tide lifts all boats. And public education is very, very key, and we're big fans and big supporters.
What website do you visit more than any other?
Orange Power.
All righty. If a fire broke out right now and you knew you only had time to grab and save one thing in your office, what would it be?
That's a great question. Probably the chalk picture that my mom drew when she was a little girl up on the top shelf.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. That's awesome. If you could make a cameo on any TV show ever, what would it be?
American Pickers.
Adrian,
I
haven't watched. Adrian talks about that show all the time.
I collect everything you could ever imagine. I love that show.
A few years ago, you opened this gleaming new building at this location. How did you decide the bank needed to have a wonderfully modern facility like this?
Well, we were growing. We were a mile down the road in downtown, and we needed more space. Mm-hmm. And my dad, who was one of the original founders of the bank, mm-hmm. and is still our chairman, he identified this site as early as maybe the late 80s, mm-hmm. that this is where the bank needed to be. He always thought this would be the center of town at 86th and 169. Yeah. And so when we needed to grow, we decided to make the move, and this part of town had just developed, so it was an ideal site. There's one little triangle piece of land here that's just for the bank.
It's perfectly sized for it.
It's perfectly sized, and we also wanted to do something really, really nice, number one, to convey strength. Mm-hmm. It's important that people know you're not failing. And then also, as we attract a lot of out-of-state clients and do a lot of out-of-state church lending, it's nice to have a nice facility to show them when you're financing facilities. So it worked out well.
If you didn't live in Oklahoma, where would you live?
Probably north central Missouri. That's where my wife's from.
Oh, okay.
People are a lot like Oklahomans.
Okay, you mentioned your wife. What should I buy my wife for Christmas?
They like Kendra Scott earrings.
Okay. Is that expensive?
No, it's affordable.
Okay. Okay.
Your salary range, everything's available.
Everything's on the table at that moment. Okay. Okay. Hey, since I've known you, you've always had something insightful to say about politics, particularly locally. Why is it important for bankers to be involved and knowledgeable in politics, particularly at the local level?
Well, all politics is local. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is, we think everybody else's politician is not any good.
That's true.
The one we elect must be okay. Uh-huh. And they're not. So I can't do anything about some Neanderthal that represents somebody else. All I can really do is try to get good ones in Owasso. Mm-hmm. And we've got a great one now. Our new state senator is a former school teacher, longtime resident, Senator J.J. Dossett. Okay. A great guy. And now we've got another former school teacher that'll be running for the state house seat. And so at some point in time, if we will all just focus on getting people in office from our community that support education and realize we have a revenue problem in the state, it'll all work out. But if we just elect the same people, it's not going to change.
Not going to. Gotcha. All right. I know you have an undergrad degree from OSU, but you have a law degree from OU. So do you ever get confused on who to root for on Bedlam games?
Not only do I have degrees from both schools, I have children with 3 degrees from each school. And no, there is never any confusion whatsoever. I bleed orange. But I don't wish your team ill.
You don't wish
I just want mine to win.
See, I see Pistol Pete back there agrees with you.
Yes.
All right. All right. If you could invite anyone in the world over for dinner, who would you invite?
I think Warren Buffett would be really interesting. I would just like to hear him talk. Yeah.
What would you cook or serve at this said dinner?
I am an excellent cook, and so it would probably be peanut butter toast and a peeled orange.
All right. Speaking of food, this is the last question, and you said that we were all going to go to the best seafood restaurant in Tulsa for lunch after these questions. What restaurant is that we're getting ready to go to?
It's White River Fish Market at Pine and Sheridan.
Oh, I'm excited.
Classic institution.
Are you excited, Megan? All right. Dee, thank you so much for answering all my silly questions today.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Take care.